I never understood the fascination with the Epiphone casino. Back when I saw the Beatles playing casinos, I didn't get it. To me, the Epiphone was always just almost as good as a Gibson. So why would the Beatles play Epiphone when they could surely afford any guitar they want? Back in 1967, I had a Gibson 330, which is roughly the Gibson equivalent of the Epiphone Casino. Actually, it wasn't mine, but a friend loaned me his dad's Gibson 330, and I considered it mine till his dad finally told him he had to go get it back. That was okay because I never really fell in love with the 330. It was really hard to control at volume due to the single coil P90 pickups mounted to the hollow body guitar. The Gibson 330 and the Epiphone Casino do not have a solid center block like a 335. Consequently, the hollow body resonates like crazy and tends to feed back when you crank it up. I always thought of the Gibson 330 and the Epiphone Casino as the poor man's 335. And for me, the 335 was a better guitar in every way. But now it's been close to 50 years since I had a guitar anything like a Casino. So I thought maybe I should revisit the Casino and see if maybe I might change my mind. Because of the popularity of the Beatles' Get Back documentary, and because John Lennon's primary guitar in the recording of the Let It Be album is a Casino, everybody wants a Casino. There's a renewed interest in the Casino, and it's actually hard to find one. When I was looking to buy a Casino, the Epiphone website listed them as out of stock. Sweetwater was out of every model, every style, every color. Guitar Center online was also out of stock, but when I did a search of the Guitar Center stores in my area, it turned out there was a local Guitar Center store about 70 miles away that did have stock. So off I went to check out the Casino. I was lucky because there weren't many people in the store, and I was able to check out both the Casinos pretty thoroughly. After a lot of playing and checking it out, I took it up to the counter and bought the one I liked. You really can't ever tell if you like a guitar until you get it home and plug it into your own amp and setup and compare it to the other guitars you have. So here's my current 2022 take on the Epiphone Casino, and I'm not going to hold any punches. Let me just say to start with that the Casino is a good guitar for the money. For $699, it's well worth the price. But there's a lot of really nice guitars in the $500 to $1,000 price category, like the Gretsch Electromatic series or the Fender Squiers and the Player series, as well as other Epiphones, and even some Gibson models border on that price range. So why buy a Casino? Well, if you're a huge Beatles fan and you just want to hang it on the wall, I get it. But if you're a player, you'll want to dig in and see if the Casino has something to offer that will earn it a place in your guitar rack. The body of the Casino is a 5-ply maple with basswood top bracing. The bracing is not like an acoustic guitar. Under the center of the top of the guitar is a thicker piece of wood to support the top and the bridge. There's also bracing around the edges where the body and the sides are joined to the top. Originally, the Casino was available in 3 finishes: natural, like John Lennon's guitar, turquoise, and sunburst, like the other Beatles guitars and the guitar that I have. This year, there are some worn finish options that are even more affordable. First off, the fit and finish of the Casino is impressive. You really couldn't ask for a better built guitar. The wood grain is nice and tight. The vintage sunburst fades gradually from a warm yellow amber to the darker tones. The sunburst looks as good as a Gibson, or maybe even better. It has the right color tone and the right fade between the colors. More importantly, the guitar is lightweight and very comfortable. It's a pleasure to strap on and throw over your shoulder. You won't be listening to one side by the end of the set and need to check in with a chiropractor. The gloss finish is beautifully done, and the binding is perfectly inlaid and has that nice, slightly aged yellow look that speaks quality to me. The neck also has binding, and everything about the finish says it's a high-quality instrument. The neck is mahogany, with the typical Gibson comfortable 24.75-inch scale length. The neck has a 12-inch radius and 22 frets, and the neck is connected to the body at the 16th fret. The nut is 1.68 inches wide. The back of the neck and the headstock are painted black. Personally, I'd rather see the wood grain rather than the neck covered with black paint. Maybe that's just me, and I feel like they're trying to hide something. I did read a negative review on the Guitar Center website that complained that the fret ends and the frets were not smooth and felt rough. All I can tell you is on the guitar I got, the fret ends were smooth and nicely rounded, and the surface of the frets also felt smooth. The action from the factory was set up really low, but there was kind of a vibration or a buzz that was not a fret buzz. I was hearing kind of a sympathetic double tone on some of the resonant frequencies. I couldn't figure it out, and finally I isolated the problem and found that the bridge posts were a little bit loose and they were causing a sympathetic vibration. I fixed it by using just a little bit of silicone plumber's tape to wrap around the bottom of the threaded bridge pin, and that solved the problem. The Pearloid parallelogram fret markers on the fretboard are very three-dimensional looking and inset perfectly. As a side note, the USA-made Epiphone Casino that costs close to $3,000 does not have the correct parallelogram inlays. They're actually reversed. The Chinese version actually is the correct orientation for the fret markers. The specs on the Epiphone website list the fretboard as Paul Ferro, but I was pleasantly surprised to find that on my guitar, the fretboard was real rosewood. The rosewood fretboard on my guitar is nice and dark, and the grain is tight. So I figured out why my guitar had a rosewood fretboard. Although I purchased this guitar new at a Guitar Center store in January of 2022, it turns out, after checking the serial number, that this Casino was actually made in 2017. 2017. That's almost 5 years before I purchased it. I'm not sure if Epiphone shipped a new old stock guitar or Guitar Center just had it in their inventory for 5 years before I purchased it. Really weird. The nut is cut correctly and the open strings ring clear and true. It has vintage style tuners and they're okay, but it might be something you could upgrade down the road. The dog-eared P90s are designed by Epiphone USA with Alnico magnets and double enameled wire windings. They have a unique sound when mounted in the true hollow body. Keep in mind, the P90s are single coil pickups and they can be noisy. They're not humbuckers, so if you like the P90 sound, then you have to deal with the noise. That's just the way it is. As an example of the sound of the Casino, take a listen to the early Keith Richards and the Stones and Dave Davies of the Kinks, who both played casinos. And of course, the Beatles all had casinos for their 1966 World Tour. Coming from playing Telecasters and Strats, I can tell you that the Casino with P90s do not have that kind of Fender bright high end. They're brighter than humbuckings, but nowhere near as bright as a Fender single coil pickup. But what they lack in high end, they more than make up in fatness. There's more than enough width to give you a big, chunky, hairy, badass sound. I actually like the way the pickups sound better when you push them. The clean sound is not that interesting to me. In comparison to the USA Casino, the stock Chinese Casino P90 pickups are not as impressive as the USA Gibson P90s. The stock pickups sound a little dull to me. I think they lack the sparkle and the character of the USA-built P90s. The sound is what I would describe as kind of woofy and a bit dark. Also, the sound across the pickup is not very even. When I rolled back the tone, the high E string almost disappeared. With all that said, still, it's really not that big a deal, because with the money you save, it's inexpensive to replace the pickups to whatever you want. Here are some sound samples. understand that on the newer Casinos, the electronics have been upgraded. I can tell you that on my 2017 Casino, the electronics are Chinese. There's no CTS pots or switchcraft parts here. But I can tell you that the audio taper on the stock pots is smooth, and the three-way switch and jack are tight and solid. And there's a good amount of control for the tones for each pickup. The three-way switch is solid and it has a positive feel. Also, I love the vintage gold knobs with the pointers. It's definitely the correct vintage look for this guitar. I would put the quality of the workmanship right up there with Gibson, and I would say this guitar is built as well as any Gibson. I know that's saying a lot, and I want to make it clear that the USA Epiphone is a better guitar. There's no question of that. But for the money, it's hard to beat. The Casino has a Gibson-style tunematic bridge and a trapeze tailpiece. This is the correct hardware for the guitar. Compare a new Epiphone to the guitars the Beatles were using in the 70s, and you'll see the look is almost identical. Epiphone has done a great job of staying true to the Casino details. The pickguard is a 3-ply white, black, white with the metal E logo. I really do like the E logo on the pickguard and the truss rod cover. The Epiphone headstock lettering is beautifully done in pearloid, and it's topped by the open book design on the headstock. It comes from the factory with D'Addario 10 to 46 gauge strings. Okay, so what is there not to like? Well, there's a few things. The first is the same issue I had originally back in the 60s. This guitar is a feedback monster, and not always in a good way. If you play through a couple of Marshall stacks, then this probably is not the guitar for you. It tends to want to get out of control. It's just the nature of hollow body guitars. It's resonant, so it vibrates and tends to howl if you let it loose. The trick is to keep it throttled and at bay. I love the P90 pickups, but they're definitely hard to control in a hollow body guitar. The payoff is that the guitar feels almost alive. It's kind of like a bicycle with a Harley engine. If you're going to jump on it and gun it, you better hold on tight. So there's that. But I also think all this resonance is a positive for the Casino too. Because the hollow body is so acoustically resonant, the guitar feels very alive and the notes tend to light up easily and jump right out of the guitar. If you want to play the beginning of I Feel Fine by the Beatles, this is the right guitar. Chording gets big and chunky sounding, but if you choke it and you keep it under control, the resonance can work for you. So that's the nature of the Casino, and if you're okay with that, then you're good. There are massive fans of the Casino, and there are guys that don't like them. I guess it's a love-hate relationship with this guitar. My next concern is that the fretboard is connected to the body of the guitar at the 16th fret, which makes playing anything above the 19th fret impossible for me. Okay, I'll admit I am the president of the Fat Fingers Club, but even if you've got fingers like Hendrix, the Casino might not be your first choice for soloing. I'm just saying. It's also strange to me that the Epiphone 335 style guitar, which was always considered the higher quality, more expensive guitar, costs less than a Casino. Huh? I have to tell you, I have mixed emotions about the Casino. If you grew up in the 60s or the 70s like I did, the Casino has a special place that's near and dear to your heart because the Beatles played them. But how they got those sounds out of this guitar is a total mystery to me. I'm sure that the USA version and the early 60s versions that the Beatles played probably sounded a lot different than the guitar that I have. I think to get the most out of this guitar, you have to upgrade the pickups and the electronics. For me, that's the way to really complete this guitar. So for sure, I love the Casino vibe. It looks awesome, it's comfortable, it has a nice weight, and despite my nitpicking, the Epiphone Casino is unquestionably a well-built guitar and a great value for the money. It compares to guitars that are twice or even 3 times the price. It might not be the right guitar for everyone, but I am impressed with the build quality and the fit and finish. I would have no problem recommending this guitar to anyone, but I would say check the guitar out yourself and make sure it's what you want. This is Brooks Reid. Thank you for watching, and thank you for all the positive comments. I don't put out regular, weekly, or even monthly content, but I try to make my video reviews fair and informative with the kind of information I'd like to find in order to make a qualified decision for buying a guitar. And maybe sometimes in the process, it might be a little entertaining, I hope. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and please check out my music on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, Soundcloud, and everywhere music is streaming. Just search Brooks Reid.